You are operating under a biological embargo where your own blood chemistry is conspiring to keep you poor because you do not understand that debt is not just a financial number on a screen. It is a constant intravenous drip of cortisol that poisons your decision-making architecture. The cortisol wallet is the physiological state of the debtor. When you owe money, your primitive brain interprets this not as a contract but as a threat to your survival. It registers the bank as a predator that is stalking you in the tall grass. This triggers the chronic fight or flight response. Your system floods with stress hormones designed to help you run from a tiger, but you cannot run from a mortgage. You cannot fight a credit card bill with a spear, so the energy has nowhere to go. It sits in your tissues, it eats your stomach lining, it destroys your sleep, but most lethally, it shuts down your prefrontal cortex. This is the part of the brain responsible for long-term planning, complex strategy, and impulse control. When you are in debt, you literally become stupider. Your effective IQ drops because your bandwidth is consumed by the background process of survival anxiety. You lose the ability to simulate the future because your brain is screaming about the danger of the present. You cannot build a 5-year plan when you are terrified of the first of the month. This is the temporal myopia of the poor. You stop seeing the horizon and you start seeing only the next step. And when you only see the next step, you walk off a cliff. The system is engineered to keep you in this high cortisol state because a stressed human is a compliant human. A man who is worried about losing his house does not ask for a raise. He does not start a competitor. He does not revolt. He keeps his head down and he works the overtime. The banks and the corporations rely on your anxiety to fuel their labor force. They sell you the debt to buy the toys that you don't have time to enjoy because you are working to pay off the debt. It is a perfect closed loop of misery. The cortisol wallet forces you into a defensive crouch. You become risk-averse in the macro. You won't start a business, but risk-seeking in the micro. You buy lottery tickets or gamble on shitcoins. Why? Because the pressure is so high that you're desperate for a release valve, a magic ticket out of the pain. The sovereign architect understands that you cannot build wealth from a place of fear. Wealth requires a calm, cold, and expansive mind. It requires the ability to hold a position for years without flinching. If your cortisol is spiking every time the phone rings, you cannot hold the position. You will sell at the bottom to relieve the pressure. You will sabotage your own success because your nervous system cannot handle the load. The biological cost of debt is an accelerated aging of your hardware. Stress is inflammation. Inflammation is the root of all disease. By carrying bad debt, you are literally trading years of your life for the instant gratification of a purchase. Is that car worth 5 years of your life? Is that degree worth your thyroid function? You must do the biological accounting. The interest rate is not just 20% APR. It is 20% of your peace of mind. It is 20% of your testosterone. It is a tax on your vitality. The cortisol wallet makes you weak. It makes you tired. And a tired man is easy to conquer. The elite operate from a serotonin wallet. They have cash reserves. They have safety. This chemical buffer allows them to think in decades. They are playing a strategy game while you are playing a survival horror game. You cannot beat them until you change the game cartridge. You must view debt not as a tool, but as a pathogen. It is a virus that has infected your operating system and is rewriting your code to serve the host, the bank. The scarcity mindset is the psychological scar tissue formed by the cortisol wallet. When you are drowning in payments, you begin to view the world as a zero-sum game. You think that if someone else wins, you lose. You become petty. You become cheap. You hoard information. You resent success. This repels money. Money is energy. It flows to those who circulate it and amplify it. It flees from those who clutch it out of fear. The debtor radiates the stink of desperation. Clients can smell it. Bosses can smell it. Women can smell it. It is a pheromone of subservience. You negotiate poorly because you need the deal. You accept bad terms because you need the cash flow. This lack of leverage is the direct result of your balance sheet. The sovereign architect knows that the person who can walk away is the person who wins. The debtor can never walk away. He is chained to the table. This loss of agency is the ultimate humiliation. You are a free man on paper, but a serf in practice. The cognitive load of payment management is a massive waste of your RAM. You have to remember due dates. You have to juggle balances. You have to calculate interest. This mental energy should be deployed into vector thinking and resource capture. Instead, it is wasted on administrative defense. Imagine if you took all the brain cycles you spent worrying about money money in the last 10 years and applied them to learning a high-income skill, you would be rich. The debt didn't just cost you the principal and interest, it cost you the opportunity cost of your own genius. It occupied the space in your mind where the million-dollar idea was supposed to grow. You strangled your own potential with a credit card. The silence of the debt-free life is not empty, it is spacious. In that space, you can finally hear the signals of opportunity. Until you clear the noise of the debt, you are deaf to the market. The illusion of good debt traps the middle class. They tell you a mortgage is good debt. They tell you a student loan is good debt. From a tax perspective, maybe. From a cortisol perspective, there is no such thing as good debt if you do not have the cash to cover it. If the asset creates a cash flow that covers the debt service and puts money in your pocket, it is leverage. If the asset just sits there and demands a monthly payment from your labor, it is a liability. Most people have liabilities masquerading as assets. The house you live in is a liability. It eats money. It demands maintenance. It keeps you stuck in one city. The cortisol it generates when the roof leaks or the property tax spikes is real. The sovereign treats all debt as a loaded gun. You only pick it up if you are a trained professional, ready to use it to kill a target, acquire an income stream. If you are an amateur, you will shoot your foot off. The cortisol wallet is the result of amateurs playing with professional tools. The recovery of your cognitive sovereignty begins with the recognition that you are in a biochemical prison. You cannot affirmation your way out of it. You cannot manifest your way out of it. You have to buy your way out of it. You have to treat the debt payoff not as a financial goal, but as a medical emergency. You are engaged in a hostage rescue operation. The hostage is your future self. Every dollar you throw at the principal is a brick removed from the wall of your cell. You must become aggressive. You must become fanatical. Because until the balance is zero, you are not thinking with your full brain. You are thinking with the lizard brain, and the lizard is going to get you killed. Tactical execution of the cortisol wallet protocol begins with the immediate reclassification of your financial status from struggling to critical condition. You are bleeding out. The debt is not a pet you keep in the backyard. It is a tumor that is metabolizing your future to sustain itself. The first step is the radical audit. You must stare into the abyss. Most debtors operate in a fog of denial. They know they owe a lot, but they do not know the exact number because the pain of knowing is too high. You must override this pain reflex. You open every envelope, you log into every portal, you put every single liability on a whiteboard in red ink. The car, the credit cards, the student loans, the personal loans, the money you borrowed from your grandmother. You sum it up. This number is your enemy. It is the price of your freedom. By visualizing the enemy, you strip it of its shadowy power. The monster in the closet is terrifying. The monster in the light is just a biological problem to be solved with violence. You are shifting from the flight response, hiding bills, to the fight response, attacking the balance. This shift alone begins to lower the cortisol because you are now in the driver's seat. You are no longer a victim of the math. You are the auditor of the disaster. The second phase is asset amputation. You look at the material objects in your life that are causing the bleed. The car you drive is likely the biggest parasite. If you have a car payment, you are driving a mobile stress unit. You are paying interest on a depreciating asset that you used to drive to a job you hate to pay for the car. It is insanity. Sell the car. Buy a beater with cash. The social shame you feel driving an ugly car is the ego tax. Pay the tax. The architect does not care about the opinions of people in traffic. He cares about his cash flow. Look at your closet. Look at your electronics. If it is not essential to the mission of survival and income generation, it is inventory. Liquidate it. Turn the dead matter into live ammunition, cash, and fire it at the debt. This physical purging has a psychological benefit. It signals to your subconscious that you are serious. You are burning the boats. You are sacrificing the nice things to save the necessary thing, which is your mind. Every object you sell is a hit of dopamine. You are trading clutter for clarity. The strategy for repayment is not mathematical. It is behavioral. The math nerds will tell you to pay the highest interest rate first, the avalanche method. They are wrong because they assume you are a rational actor. You are not. You are a cortisol-soaked primate. You need a win. You need it now. You use the snowball method. You line up your debts from smallest balance to largest balance. You ignore the interest rates. You attack the smallest one with the fury of a berserker. You throw every spare dollar, every sold item, every side hustle cent at that little debt until it is dead. When it hits zero, you get a rush of serotonin. You have killed a predator. You have reclaimed a piece of territory. This chemical victory rewires your brain. It proves that the monster can be killed. You take the money you were paying on the first debt and roll it into the second. The snowball grows. The dopamine hits get bigger. You are hacking your own reward system to become addicted to debt debt repayment instead of spending. You are turning the pain of paying into the pleasure of killing. The scorched earth budget is the operational reality during this war. You enter monk mode. There are no restaurants. There are no vacations. There are no subscriptions. You eat for fuel, not for entertainment. You live on the absolute biological floor of existence. This is not poverty. This is a siege. You are besieged by the banks, and you are rationing your supplies to survive. Every dollar you do not spend is a soldier you deploy to the front lines. You must learn to find pleasure in the deprivation. You look at the steak you didn't buy, and you see the interest payment you didn't make. You look at the movie you didn't see, and you see the day of freedom coming closer. This stoicism hardens you. It teaches you that you need very little to survive. Once you realize how little you need, the fear of poverty vanishes. If you can be happy on rice and beans, the system has no leverage over you. You become unbreakable. But defense is only half the war. You need kinetic offense. You cannot save your way out of a hole if the shovel is too small. You must increase the size of the shovel. This means income acceleration. The 40-hour work week is for solvent people. You are insolvent. You work 80 hours. You get a second job. You freelance. You sell plasma. You do manual labor. You do anything that is legal and moral to generate cash. This is not about building a career. This is about generating a surge of resources to overwhelm the enemy defenses. The fatigue you feel from working double shifts is different from the fatigue of debt. It is good pain. It is the pain of the gym, not the pain of the cancer. You can endure it because you know it is temporary. You have a countdown clock. You are buying your life back 1 hour of overtime at a time. The sovereign architect uses this period to test his capacity. How hard can you actually work? You will be surprised. The human animal is capable of immense output when the survival instinct is properly channeled. The creation of the fuck you fund is a tactical milestone. Before you pay off all the debt, you must build a small cash buffer, maybe 1 or 2 months of expenses. This is not savings. This is a shield. It prevents a flat tire from becoming a financial crisis that forces you back to the credit card. It breaks the cycle of borrowing, but more importantly, it lowers the background radiation of cortisol. Knowing you have cash in the safe gives you a serotonin floor. It allows you to sleep. It allows you to say no to bad deals. It is the first brick in the fortress of your sovereignty. You guard this fund with your life. It is the seed from which your empire will grow. The neurological rewiring that happens during this process is the true prize. You are training your brain to associate debt with pain and liquidity with pleasure. Most people have this backwards. They associate buying with pleasure and paying with pain. You are flipping the script. By the time you are debt-free, you will be physically repulsed by the idea of borrowing money. You will look at a credit card offer like it is a vial of poison. This immune response to debt is what prevents you from ever going back. You have seen the devil and you have killed him. You will not invite him back into your house. The final state is the 0 point. The day the last debt is paid is the day your prefrontal cortex comes back online fully. The fog lifts. The constant hum of anxiety stops. You wake up and you realize that every dollar you earn today is yours. It does not belong to the past. It belongs to the future. This is the moment the Cortisol Wallet becomes the sovereign vault. You can now plan 5 years out. You can take risks. You can invest. You can build. You have moved from negative territory to neutral ground. Now the real game begins. You are no longer fighting to survive. You are fighting to conquer. The energy that was being consumed by stress is now available for creation. This is the peace dividend of the war. Use it wisely.